Good morning, friends. I was on Facebook the other day and somebody was complaining about low back pain. And of course, being a massage therapist, I read through the comments and I thought, you know what? I need to share this kind of information with my podcast listeners because I know you guys are out there feeling aches and pains in different places. You know, we have a physical job. Most of us do anyway. And, it's funny because a lot of people do not connect what's going on emotionally and energetically with what's going on physically. And so I feel like we miss a lot of really good clues and insight as to how to make our situation a little bit better. Now, I'm not going to get super detailed, but I will throw out a few examples of things I see often and my insights on what is going on subconsciously. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hey friend, welcome to Deep Healing for Creative Entrepreneurs. My name is Aubrey Barr and I am a subconscious release technique practitioner and photography business owner. I know you are sick of ending your day feeling overwhelmed and exhausted, and you are seeking a solution to help you feel creatively inspired and actively engaged in your business as well as personal life. In this podcast, we are going to dig into any limiting beliefs or subconscious programs that are keeping you in a space filled with anxiety and stress. This work is not a temporary solution for your life. No, this is a complete transformation. So grab your coffee or tea and let's start you on the road to healing. And let me just say, you can do this. You are worth it. And you are meant to thrive in life and business. So let's dig in. So with my background being in massage therapy, I've talked about it before, but I started as a massage therapist and I was very well known for the deep work that I did. So not hard pressure, but deep. Like I do neuromuscular work, I do myofascial release, I do so many things that are digging in, we'll say. Even Thai yoga massage, whatever. I'm certified in so many things that are just more physically demanding. So even on me, but also on my clients, right? The idea being, obviously, we can loosen some things up. We can move fresh blood and nutrients into the area and just break up more adhesion tissues. There's just a lot of wonderful things that happens there. Okay, so that was my whole goal, and I spent the first probably 10 years of my massage career focused solely on being that person that can take on the clients that need the deep work. And honestly, I'm very good at it. I'm extremely good at it. I'm very good at the trigger point therapy, so that's always been kind of a natural gift for me. So you can imagine that when I started getting into energy work or just diving more into trapped emotions, I was pretty dumbfounded at how the body can hold on to emotions and subconscious programs. So it's been super interesting, and I just thought it'd be really cool to come at you guys and kind of tell you what I see when I see somebody going through things like this and how I would approach it now, given my knowledge about the subconscious and then also the physical body. So many people have asked me, what comes first? Does the trauma from your experiences from your life being trapped in your body come first, or does the physical issues come and then the emotions come in and kind of grab a hold of places where it's not freely moving and it's not easy to detox out? So I absolutely think now that when you have an emotional trigger or trauma and it's trapped in your body, you are going to have a weaker area of the body. So let's say, for example, this is someone that worked with me very closely around grief. Now, she came to me specifically for subconscious work. So this is not someone that lives close to me where I was also their massage therapist. But she had some things going on in her family that she knew she needed to work on. They were with her extended family, also with her childhood. And so we were able to pull up quite a bit around issues that were causing her to feel heavy in the chest and feeling the grief. She had some losses very early on, unexpected, and she kind of kept them there. So we worked through them. But I noticed as we were going through them that she was having little bouts of coughing. And it wasn't super severe, but it was like kind of like your throat itches a little and you cough and cough and cough. And so I, stopped and I was like, you doing okay? And honestly, coughing often shows up as a form of release. We mostly focus on breathing out the emotions and the programs, but occasionally you will cough or yawn, or some people will cry, some people laugh, or even get like little burps. It's all releasing. And I've learned this from years of doing body work on people. It's the same thing. They will try to release things, and it's just a physical reaction of an emotional concern. And so it's totally normal. But we talked about it a bit, and she said, actually, come to think of it, I've had this cough for 30 years. And I've been to plenty of doctors, and there's never really anything concrete to say about it or anything to help it or fix it. And she did tell me after the session that she felt better and she wasn't coughing as much. Now, if you do any kind of research on how emotions stay in your body, you will find that a lot of authors in their books and a lot of studies will say that grief is often in the chest, in the lungs, to be more specific. And it will often prohibit you from taking those big, meaningful breaths, like a bigger breath in. Grief will kind of shut that down a bit and make you feel like you can't breathe. So oftentimes I find programs like I Can't Breathe, or traumas where someone really felt like they couldn't breathe. Let's say you have asthma and you have a situation where you have an asthma attack and you cannot breathe for a short period of time. You will hold that inside, and it does cause extra issues. So the reason why I'm even telling you this is because a lot of times we need to open our mind to what else may be going on. Okay, so let's say your low back is bothering you, and maybe it's a thing that has been with you your whole life, and you just go through bouts of feeling like, okay, I can't even walk, or it's so achy in the morning, or whatever. Yes, you may have other things going on. Okay, I'm not saying there's nothing else physically going on that would cause that. All I'm saying is a lot of times we have a subconscious program from traumas that are locked in our body that will constantly nag at us in those ways. And it's almost like saying, hey, I know you forgot about this, but this is something that you need to take care of because I need help releasing it. I can't process this on my own without your help. Okay, so low back, for example, is a big area to hold deep traumas. This is an area where a lot of people who, have had experiences where they were abused will have that low back pain because the underlying emotion there is like not feeling supported. So even if it's, you can have other things, no question, but those bigger traumas where you experience something that was deep, that was, very abusive in whatever way, those will kind of stay in your hips and in your low back. And so I find that support is a big issue for that. And then on the flip side, we can also determine kind of where the trauma is coming from based on what side of the body it is on, because a lot of people who have trauma or pain or issues on the right side of the body, it's not just because they're right-handed. A lot of times they have some kind of paternal influence in their life that is causing or did cause some issues. Like, just to throw all that together, maybe your low back on the right side bothers you quite often. It is very possible that somewhere in the paternal line, you felt unsupported by this person, or you're always trying to meet this person's high standards and not really feeling supported until you do. I mean, there could be a billion different things. I'm not trying to take away from everybody's individual experiences, but I do think it's important to kind of take a step back and look at this and say, what is this? Because I'll be honest with you, when I first read Louise Hay's book, it's called You Can Heal Your Life, and I recommend it to so many people in my life. But when I first read that book, I was in awe at how correct it seemed to be with what I had already experienced in my profession as a massage therapist leading up to that moment. So I had a good solid, probably 12 years of experience when I read that. And I was like, okay, I mean, I don't look at it as the end all to everything. or anything like that, to be honest with you. I take my own experiences and I always lead with my intuition. So sometimes I do get different insights into what's going on, but it's a pretty good baseline of what may be going on in your body. So I'll link it in the comments so you guys can get that book if you want. It just gives you a really good idea as to what may be going on. I mean, there's stuff in there about constipation, not to get too graphic, but that is the feeling or emotions around feeling like life is not running smoothly and it's not easy. And you can see how even worry would affect that, right? Into the stomach area and the digestive system. So there's a lot of really cool things in there that helps with that. I had someone else, and I won't go into all the details, but they were having a lot of issues with their feet. And feet, first off, if you have something going on in your foot, you do need to make sure that the hip on that side is also okay, because a lot of times it will travel down. But there's a really good indication that if you're having feet problems, you do not like the direction your life is headed in. So, your feet kind of symbolize like if you're on the right path, so to speak. And that does make a lot of sense to a lot of people. Some people are going through things where they're feeling a little bit confused about decisions they need to make that may alter that direction, and they might feel it in one or both of their feet. So it's just super interesting what the body will do to kind of bring your attention to a situation. Okay, now, as I said, this is not 100% everything that you need to know, right, about your body physically, and this does not excuse any kind of diseases or anything like that. I am not a medical doctor, ever. I'm never going to be, and I'm not now. So please take that with a grain of salt, but allow it to start opening your mind to what other possibilities are going on in your life that would cause a certain area to be inflamed or in pain or whatever it is. As always, my biggest goal with this podcast and with just being able to speak to you guys and educate so many on these kind of topics is just to let you know that there's this whole other world of emotional things going on in your body. There absolutely is, and there always will be. There's always something to work through, okay? I really feel like we have been programmed as a society and as people to separate the two, right? We either have a physical problem or we have an emotional problem or we have a mental problem. Like everything's separate. It's a whole different category, right? But anytime you go see an acupuncturist or even a DO or a chiropractor or, someone like me, we are not working on one category. Like we see the body as a whole. We see the spirit as a communion with the body, right? So there's absolutely nothing off limits. And that's what I tell people when they go see my acupuncturist. I'm like, he will ask you things you do not think he's going to ask you because it is all connected. We are all connected. Okay, we are not separated. This is very contrary to Western medicine in general. Okay, they always want to fix just the problem without fixing the entire root of it. Okay, so just start thinking of it differently. When you think, oh yeah, I'm okay, I don't need this kind of work, I am perfectly fine except for 2 times a month when I lose it, or when I'm in a lot of pain, or when I flare up from my autoimmune disease, or when my thyroid is acting out, or, okay? Please notice that there are patterns happening and your body is trying to tell you about them, okay? We cannot just explain a autoimmune flare-up by saying, oh, well, it's just inflamed and it happens. And that's what happens when you have this disease. I totally get it. I have my own autoimmune diseases too, right? And if I didn't try to look outside of what the diagnosed but untreatable medical world told me, I would still be suffering pretty heavily. But I decided to find out what about this situation my body was trying to tell me, what emotions and what false stories I needed to clear. Okay, so I went the extra mile, and I know you can too. Don't just write it off as a certain disease that can only be helped in certain ways, okay? Please be open. Please understand that there's more going on there. I'm going to get off my soapbox because I could talk about this for hours and hours, and in the end, It all has to be your decision. It has to be your decision of how important it is to you to find that equilibrium, to get back to your balanced state, which does not involve inflammation or pain or sadness or guilt or whatever. It doesn't involve that. It involves being happy. It involves being joyful and feeling good in your body. So let me know if this speaks to you guys. Let me know if you want to learn more about certain topics that we're speaking about today. I'm happy to elaborate a bit. Please remember, let me get out my disclaimer. All right, here we go. I am not a doctor. The advice I am passing on is based on my 17 years of experience working as a licensed massage therapist and subconscious release technique coach. The advice and information I am sharing in any form, text, audio, video, etc., is intended for generally healthy adults without specific medical conditions. If you believe you have a specific medical condition, I strongly advise you to seek out a qualified healthcare worker for a personal evaluation before performing any of the exercises or suggestions I gave you today. Okay, I'm not even sorry about that, you guys. It has to be done when I talk about things like that. So I hope, though, that that doesn't take away from the information you've learned here today and that you are able to start thinking outside of the box for some of the things you have going on. I do recommend Louise Hay's book. I also recommend Segal's book. She's an amazing person, too, and has a lot of information in there about how some of these programs and some of these emotions have plagued us in certain ways in certain areas of the body. So there is a whole system of just a beautiful connection on such a deep level that we have only tapped into. So I absolutely welcome any kind of questions. Let me know, and I will link all of those books in the comments. I do have, you guys, if you didn't get into the perfectionism class, I'm going to leave the link there. It's no longer free, but it is there for people who feel like they need to work on some of the things going on with perfectionism, and it will give you a chance to see what my work is without having to commit to my bigger programs. So I highly suggest you do it. All right, guys, have a beautiful day, and we will talk soon. I hope this podcast spoke to you in some way. If it did, please go ahead and leave me a review and subscribe so that I know you're enjoying what you hear. And further, if you know somebody else who owns their own creative business and struggles with anything that we spoke about, please pass this on, because it is my hope that we will be able to build a community of like-minded individuals who love on each other and appreciate the many facets that make our creative business so unique. And lastly, check out the show notes to find my free Facebook community and other useful links to work with me. All right, friend, see you soon.